Hey everybody, it's Rebel Piggy here with a brand new episode for you. Today's recipe is onigiri. So this is Japanese rice balls, and we are also going to be making some other components to make a whole bento box. So first things first, we are going to be washing our calrose rice, which is a short grain rice, and we are washing it so that it is not so starchy and that we will have nice clean pieces of grain as opposed to having mush. Now we are washing it 5 to 7 times under cold water to make sure that we are getting all of that starch, and once it becomes clear you will know that it is ready to start cooking. And this is a type of grain that is generally used in Asian cooking because it likes to keep its form as opposed to like a short grain rice like a jasmine or basmati rice that's used in Indian cooking or Thai cooking that kind of is very loose and it doesn't stay together very well. Once we've had that washed, we are going to put it in our medium pot. We are going to add 2 cups of water. So this is 1.5 cups of calrose rice to 2.5 cups of water. We're going to bring that to a boil, very high heat, and in the meanwhile, we're going to be preparing our little cocktail weenies. So our cocktail weenies, we are going to be cutting into quarter slices, if that makes sense. We're going to turn it around for every quarter, cut into it. I guess you would just be cutting into it twice until you have these little legs, as you see there. And the reason why we're doing that is because when you cook the weenies, the cocktail weenies, they will actually flare up and they'll look like little flowers if you turn them upside down or right side up, and octopus if you have them upside down. Anyways, you'll see what I'm talking about here shortly. Now we have our rice that's been brought up to a boil. We want to have a lid that's going to cover it completely, and once we find that lid, we're going to stir it twice to make sure that the grains at the bottom have been lifted up to the top. We're going to lower the heat to very low so that it is a simmer, and we're going to cook that for 20 minutes. And what we're looking for is we're looking for a very nice fluffy rice. The texture of the rice is going to be just tender, almost like if you were going to look for al dente pasta. That's the kind of texture that we're looking for. We cover it, and now we're going on to other preparations, which is going to be our cocktail weenies. So we're going to do the cocktail weenies first. The cocktail weenies, we're going to just heat very quickly. We're going to add just a little bit of color to it. And when we're cooking this, which I realized I kind of had this pan on too high. My front 2 burners where I like to do the filming of pots and pans and stuff where I'm cooking on the stove, they're power burners, so they tend to run a lot hotter than the back 2. You're seeing here, there's a little bit of color. It's going to be caramelized, and once I've brought those up to this nice color, you'll notice that those legs, again, they're flaring out. And as you can see, like, that looks like a little octopus, or if you have them upside down, they look like little flowers. So that's going to be part of our presentation with the bento. With bentos, it's going to be catchy for the eye. Now we have our boiled egg, which we use the same technique as I did in the ramen video. And you have to remember, add a little bit of vinegar to make it easier for you to peel the egg. Peel it under cold water so it'll be easier for you to handle as it's still hot, because we still want the egg to be relatively hot or warm when we do our next step, which is to add it to a egg mold. And these egg molds are very popular in Japan whenever they use it to make these bentos, and generally they do that so, again, it appeals to little kids that are eating this for their lunch. And this is one of the ones that I have. It's a little bunny, and as you notice there, it is a bit too big. The egg is too big. I used a extra large egg. I should have used a large egg, but I generally keep extra large eggs at my house. But for these molds, use a large or medium-sized egg for these. And I also have like a little bear one. And once you have it in the mold, run it under cold water or keep it in a cup with cold water. And if you have it in a cup of cold water, keep it there for 15 minutes. It will hold the mold for longer and it'll keep the shape for longer. Now we are going to prep our filling for our onigiri, our rice balls. We have here green onion, and I will also be adding salmon. However, I was not satisfied with the texture of the salmon of this particular product. So if you're going to use packaged or canned tuna, use that instead. If you're going to use salmon, heat up the salmon just like you were going to saute it, or not saute it, like do like a salmon steak. I'm going to heat it on both sides for 5 to 7 minutes, not for too long because we don't want the salmon to be tough. Then you would shred the salmon and add it to this just like you see here. Or you can even do the same thing with like rotisserie chicken. Shred up the chicken, put it into this mixture with the mayonnaise, the green onions, and also the Tabasco Chipotle sauce, which is one of my favorite things to eat with onigiri now. Like, I thought it was really weird when my husband brought it up. He's like, oh, I tried this and it's so good. And I'm like, whatever, that's weird. I tried it and I was like, oh, it's so good. So now, not just within the mixture, but whenever I'm eating the onigiri, I will actually add Tabasco sauce on top. Chipotle Tabasco sauce in particular. It is really good. So you mix everything up and you're just going to set it aside until your rice is done. And the thing with the rice is we have to wait for it to cool, and you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. So our rice is very nice and fluffy. The texture of the rice when you bite into a grain should be al dente, just like we talked about earlier. And you'll notice that the rice isn't mushy, it's not goopy, I don't know how to pronounce it or what I'm trying to say, but it is sticky, however it's a nice stickiness. And whenever you're molding your rice balls, please take care. We'll talk about that here in a second. Now here we are taking out our rice, putting it into a shallow pan, and we're going to cover it so that it can kind of cool for a little bit into a refrigerator for a little bit if you wanted to. The thing with putting rice into refrigerators is that it takes a lot of the moisture out of it, so be careful with that. Don't leave it in there for too long. And now we are going to assemble our balls, our onigiri rice balls. So we have about a 1/3 cup of cooked rice into the palm of our hands. We made an indentation with our finger. And then we put our filling. We helped that filling into the rice as we formed it around it. And we're cupping our hands back and forth to make it into a ball, but please be sure to not crush it. And I have a mixture of water and rice to the side so that if it feels like my hands are getting sticky, I put my hand in there for a little bit, take a lot of the excess water off, and it helps me form the rice around without making a mess. Then you take a strip of seaweed if you want it, or even if you just wanted to put some sesame seeds over it, and you're done with the rice ball. It's very simple. So now we're going to do like a cute little presentation here. I'm going to put my 2 rice balls in there, and remember with this is a very small bento. I wanted to show you guys a presentation of the bento. This isn't necessarily going to say that this is going to be traveling, because if you guys didn't know, bento boxes are little lunch boxes that people take with them to work, to school. It's prepped in the morning, and this is what they eat for lunch. As you'll see, like the presentation I do, it's not for transport. It's too big. There are other things that people put in here, or maybe they have bigger lunch boxes or bento boxes that they could put this particular lunch into, but for this particular box, it's way too big. I put 3 cherry tomatoes because, you know, super delicious. And these cherry tomatoes, I think I got them at like an organic, no, I think I got them at a Trader Joe's, and I like bit into it, and dude, that like it squirted all over the place because it was so juicy and it was so good. Then I put the little octopi, some flour, whatever, weenies in there, and these are actually like cheese cocktail weenies, which are delicious. Put those in there, and I also decided to add a little bit of grapes in there. I thought that was a nice touch. So this is actually what my husband had for lunch on this particular day, because I was cooking a lot of stuff. I was also prepping the stuff for the ramen video, and here you have it. Onigiri and a full bento box. So a full meal, basically, for lunch. If you guys like this video, please let me know what other types of foods you want me to make. If you want to see me make a dish from a different country, I'll try it out. I'll try to find a recipe and try to do it for you guys. Ooh, there goes my voice. But anyways, I really enjoyed making this. I love making this all the time. It's one of my husband's favorite things. And if you did like this video, please let me know. Comment, like, and subscribe. And as always, keep cooking, keep gaming, and keep being yourselves. Bye-bye!